Hey everyone, so today our sponsor, First 5 Yuba County, has asked that I read Recount, which is about the 2020 census, and it's just to kind of make it so that kids and their families know what the census is all about, and then it's not so scary, not such a big deal, but that it's really going to be helpful in making sure that education gets all the funds that it needs so the schools can do their best and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and read that. All right. Who counts in America? Every 10 years, we answer that question by counting each and every person who lives in this country. It's a big job, right? It's called the census, and the next one starts March 2020, so it already started. In the last census, many families forgot to count their babies and their young children. So here's a book to help everyone learn. Young and old, we all count. I'm Miss Faith. I am one where I live. Young and old, we all count. So here's how this book can help all of us count. It'll count the number of people in the family and show you who counts on the census. This book has all kinds of answers to that. What constitutes a household, who counts in the 2020 census, because no two families are the same, but everyone must count each and every person, young and old, that lives in his or her household. All right, so let's see. My name is Katya. We are 1, 2 where I live. See? Her and her mom. Young and old, we all count. Katya lives with her mother most of the time, but when her mom works late, Katya stays overnight with her grandma or with an aunt. So, who gets to count Katya on the census? Her mother will put Katya on the census because Katya stays most nights with her. Children should be counted where they sleep most of the time. Some kids sleep at different places, so it may not be clear where they spend the most nights. In that case, count where they slept on April 1st, 2020. My name is James. We are 1, 2, 3 where I live. Now, James's baby brother is still in the hospital. See, that's him right there. So how does that work? This is tricky. There are 3 people where James lives, but now there are 4 people in his family. His mother just had a new baby, but the baby is still in the hospital. So who should be counted? This one's tricky. New babies that are still in the hospital are counted with their family. There are 3 people where James lives, but on the census, there's 4 in the household. James, his parents, and his new baby brother are all counted on the census. My name is Sophia. We are 1, 2, 3, 4 where I live. Young and old, we all count. Sophia, her brother Kadir, her mother, and her father all live together at the same address. Count your kids. My name is Frankie. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 where I live. Young and old, we all count. Frankie, his brother Tomas, and his sister Nina live with their grandparents, Nono and Nona. But their grandparents live in a building that's only for senior citizens. So if anyone asks, they all pretend that Frankie, Tomas, and Nina are just visiting. So who should be counted? Frankie, Tomas, Nina, and their grandparents all count on the census. True answers on the census helps the community. They won't get in trouble for those answers because the census is private and answers are not shared with anyone, not with landlords or police. It's only used to answer big questions about communities, like how many people live in the city? What are their ages and ethnicities? Questions like these help everyone understand what people and communities need. My name is Maria. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 where I live. Young and old, we all count. Filling out this census form will be a bit tricky. Sometimes there's as many as 6 people where Maria lives, but Maria's brothers are not living at home right now. Juan lives with his aunt, Carlos is in the army, Rosa is Maria's foster sister and lives in the household now. So who should be counted? In this one, only 4 people are counted. Maria, Rosa, and her mother and father are counted on the census. Children in foster care are counted where they live, so Rosa is counted with Maria's family. Juan is living with his aunt, so he should be counted on his aunt's census form. Family members in the army, like Carlos, will be counted by the military. Anyone living away from home at college, prison, and a homeless shelter, an elder care facility, or other place will be counted there. My name is Sammy. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 where I live. Young and old, we all count. Sammy and his sister Aisha live with their parents and grandmother. Many relatives stay at Sammy's house when they first come live in the United States. Uncle Omar is living with them right now. So is Cousin Joe. Who should be counted? Anyone staying at Sammy's house on April 1st, 2020 with no other fixed address should be counted. This includes Sammy, his mother, father, grandmother, his sister Aisha, and cousin Joe, who is here to study. And don't forget Uncle Omar. Even though he's sleeping on the couch until he finds a new place, for now he's counted with Sammy's family. My name is Frida. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 where I live. Young and old, we all count. Frida lives with her parents, her brother, her grandma, her Aunt Elena, and 2 cousins. They move every spring so Frida's parents and aunt can work. All of Frida's family should be counted where they live on April 1st, 2020. If Frida's family does not get a census invitation with a census ID number, it may have been lost during the move. Frida's family can call the census helpline to find out. The phone number is on the last page of this book, and I'll show you when we get there. Or they can take the census online without their census ID number. My name is Shanti. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 where I live. Big family. Young and old, we all count. Shanti just came with her mother, father, and favorite doll to live in the United States. Luckily, another family from their village has turned their garage into a home where Shanti and her parents can live. So who should be counted? Shanti and her family live in their own private place, but they share an address with another family. So they will not receive a letter or invitation in the mail from the Census Bureau with their census ID number. But Shanti's family needs to be counted. Shanti's father can call or go online to complete their census on a non-ID questionnaire form. He will give the location description as a separate unit located on the shared address. And that's how that'll work. My name is Patience. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 where I live. Young and old, we all count. Patience and her mother live in apartment 5G. They don't know some of the people who share 5G with them. Many people come and go. Some are friendly while others are quiet. Who should be counted? Every person living in 5G, young and old, must be counted together on the same census form. Any adult living in 5G can fill out the form and should be sure to include everyone who lives there. They don't all have to fill it out. Just one person living there can do it. Even if this is an illegal sublet, it's safe to give the census this information. Only census workers will see this information. They will not and cannot, by law, share it with the landlord or with housing, immigration, or law enforcement officials. If the form is not filled out, a census worker will come to the apartment to help fill out the form. If you don't want this visit, the form needs to be completed by the end of March, although my guess is that with the quarantine right now, things have probably been extended. So now we're going to get into a little bit of question and answer for the grown-ups out there. So, how does the census work? In March, every household gets a letter from the United States Census Bureau. This letter has an invitation to take the census. Each letter has a census ID number, and you use that number to fill out the census form. You can fill out the form right away if you call on the phone or go online using a computer or a smartphone. You can also get a form in the mail to fill it out in writing or call to ask for a written census form. If you don't fill out the form or answer all the questions, census workers might come around and knock on your door in May. Check their ID and try to talk to them if you can, but they're likely to speak your language, so it should be okay. All right, the next question is, what does this have to do with me? Well, we all pay taxes, right? Even when we buy things, we pay taxes. Even if we're not earning money with going into federal stuff, we're still paying taxes. And so that tax money adds up to about $900 billion. And we have a say in where that goes. The government uses the census numbers so they know how many people are in your community, the ages of the people, and what services your community is most likely to need. And that way they can figure out how to send money back to the community, the tax money they've got, to help pay for those services. So by taking the census, then the share of the money you paid in taxes is coming back to your community. That money pays for the services all of our families need and use. All right. So, we're taking the census to support the family and the community. Frida's dad knows that in 2010, many young children were not counted in the census. So for the past 10 years, many children did not get their share of the $675 billion a year that funds their health, education, and housing needs. So by doing this and filling it out, you're really benefiting your community. Census numbers make sure funds are sent to communities across the U.S. So Sophia has doctor visits her parents can afford. So James can get the best childcare when his parents go to work. So Maria's foster care sister has a home with a family who's there for her. And so Frida can go to a school right down the street and get lunch for not too much money. It's so Katya, Frankie, Sammy, Shanti, Patience, and their families, and all the families get the services our government promises us for paying our taxes. Like the fire department, highways, and even garbage collecting. Government services all of us use and need are based on our response to the census. So the amount of money a community gets for programs that keep children healthy and strong is only decided by the census numbers. No politics, no deals, just the answer to one question: how many children live in this community? That's all they want to know. If your family is not counted in the census, the government doesn't know you're there, and your share of the money could go somewhere else. And it's about more than money. It's about democracy. If you and your family are not counted in the census, your community will have less power, less of a voice, less representation in your national, state, and local government. We won't really need to go into that, I don't think. We can just take it for... What I hear about the census and immigration is confusing. Well, sometimes people are confused about the questions you may be asked on the census. The census counts how many people there are in the country, no matter their age, race, ethnicity, or immigration status. It does not ask about your citizenship or legal status. It does not ask when or if you came here from another country. There's talk in the US right now that suggests that only some families and voices will count, but the United States is stronger when all of us count. Most of the families in this country came here as immigrants. Some came 100 years ago and were told then that they didn't count. But you and your family and your community matter, and you deserve to be counted. How can I trust that my answers will be private? Well, privacy is important, and getting the right count is also important. So here's how the people who run the census protect your privacy. Your census answers are separated from your name and address. The information that connects you to your census answers are locked away. And by law, your private information cannot be shared with any person or government agency. Not the IRS, not DHS, not the FBI, CIA, ICE, or even your landlord. Census workers take an oath to keep your answers private. They can go up to jail for 5 years and pay a $250,000 fine. Yes, if they break that $250,000. I count money today. Your census answers without your name or address are added to everyone's answers and are used to explain the big picture of your community, city, county, or state. So don't worry, those are protected and private. We read that the census will be online. How will that work? Well, you can, when you've got your letter in the mail with your census ID number, you can go take the census online at www.2020census.gov. The safest way to take the census online and make sure you're at the right place is to type in the address yourself instead of following a link. Don't fall for a fraud. The Census Bureau will never ask for your social security number, bank or credit card account numbers, money or donations, or anything on behalf of a political party, or ask what party you belong to. If any of those questions happen, you're in the wrong place. You're with someone who's trying to trap you. So back up and type in this email address, www.2020census.gov. It's a pretty short, simple website address, so it's easy enough to type in there. Make sure that you get in the right place. If you don't like the internet or you don't have the internet, the phone number to call and take the census is listed at the back of this book, and I will show you that too. All right. Here is the phone number. And if you need one of these, go ahead and take a screenshot. But these phone numbers in these various languages are how you can make sure that your voice gets counted. So hopefully this will help you make sure that your community gets all the benefits that they need and deserve. Let yourself be counted. Let your voice mean something. Let yourself be heard, because that's what this is all about, so that we can make sure that our communities can thrive and be healthy.